by the way.
That's our guest. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Because normally, we don't have a lot of guests, but it's cool to have something.
Second time on the show, first time on the live broadcast.
Okay. That's what's up. Well, we're back again. It's another week. We usually, what we have been doing is starting off each podcast with, telling everybody how our week has been and all that other good stuff. So I'm gonna leave it up to you, man. How your week been, man?
Week is good, man. I just
I was just for some rich guy. That's all I need to be.
Pretty much my week. That's it.
Regardless of how the rest of the week went, that put it on point.
That's right.
The rest of the daily, I'm in the shop, doing my best to beautify the people I can.
Keep pushing with Sean. Keep pushing.
I said best I can.
Somebody like it, goddammit. Hey, just let the people know, sorry, we are live now. Everything's good. So I got everything situated.
Cool.
Yeah, it took me a second. Sorry, Oz. It took me a quick second. But yeah.
That's watching?
No, I'm just letting them know, just in case. Hey, it took me a quick second. My bad. My bad. I'm not gonna lie though. Now you be getting me right though. You be getting me right. When it comes to them cuts, I mean, I couldn't get one. I was broke as shit. I'm broke. Oh, whose phone is that?
Sorry.
Cut that hub off.
Oh, that's that. Oh,
No, that's us.
Yeah, she was just making sure that your podcast is working.
I can see it on Facebook, but I can't see it on YouTube.
It'll pop up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of
Hey,
those.
Tonya, whoever you are.
Squirting midgets number 3. That's.
No, I've never really watched midget porn.
Oh, okay.
I do like squirting porn, but I don't watch midget porn.
Oh, okay.
It's never really been my thing.
I don't even know how we got to this.
Squirting and flirting.
He brought it up. I don't know.
Bro, y'all some nasties. But
Hey, that's my dog.
Yeah, sorry, Oz. It didn't transition the way it was supposed to. I'll do it better next time. I'm still figuring it out. I got a quick little hiccup, but we'll figure it out. Did you have anything else to add, though, Naeem, for your week? I mean, really and truly, for the people who probably don't know you, I'll probably have you give a quick little bio. I mean, you told us about yourself before, but there's other people in here who don't know you. None of these people met you.
Me?
So, the only person you met was Vince. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, you can give a quick bio, let people know what's up. Let them know how I met this interesting person that you are.
I am your barber. For how long now is the question?
Oh man, it's been years.
Go by so fast.
It's been since at least 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But
This is Naeem Shabazz from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
The Rock.
yeah,
In the house.
yeah,
Yeah. Local barber.
Oh yeah.
Been in the game for about 16 years.
That's what's up.
Got retirement in my eyesight though.
Hey.
They don't like it when I talk about that.
I ain't even hear what you said.
See,
Damn, bro.
I didn't hear that. I don't know what you
Finding
talking
a
about.
barber's like finding a doctor, bro.
You finna
trying
go out
to
like
hold on
Mike,
to
bro. You finna retire his jersey and everything.
I love it.
How about this? Just keep cutting my hair. I don't care about everybody else.
You gonna put him on retainer?
So look, we gonna get famous eventually.
I might,
That man say he gonna put his jersey in the
I'll
wrap.
keep a list of folks,
I mean, damn, bro. You know how, bro. Look, nothing against any other barbers in the Rock, you know what I'm saying, but you get it. Like if I say, hey, bro, this is how I want my hair cut. Guess what you do? You do that shit. Not.
I don't see how that's an issue. How is it hard to follow directions?
Cause motherfuckers don't want to listen.
You'd be surprised.
I just do what people say, even if I don't agree with it. I might give a suggestion, but if that's what they want, I'm gonna give you what you want.
You sure? Alright.
You paying for it, so.
Exactly.
True. That's true.
Yeah, put it that way.
If you want the bowl cut, he gonna drop that 20. You get the bowl on his head, That's what he
Exactly.
want.
What are
Awesome.
you talking
I
about?
want to do that to somebody.
Damn, that's kind of hard.
That really is kind of hard. It's like, why would you do that?
I don't know.
Only people get that is them kids who be acting up in school.
Yeah,
And
I'm
their
having
parents take
flashbacks.
the Oh, you had a bowl cut, Jay?
Oh yeah. I had every single haircut I got. My dad worked 2 police jobs, so he didn't have time to cut hair.
Oh,
So you just
man.
throw the bowl on it, just cut real quick.
Damn, dog.
Half the time I missed like half my ear.
No,
I'm
Justin
wow.
Bieber, dog.
Damn, bro, you had the Holyfield, bro?
Yeah.
Damn.
Bro, I'm so sorry.
Post Mike.
I had the Tyson. I had the
Yeah,
chip
yeah.
missing out of the ear.
Damn,
I feel like I need to
I
give this
feel
man
your
a free
pain.
cut just for.
Damn, bro.
Hot combs. My ears
You
barely
ain't get the
survive.
lineup or nothing on the. Damn, you just.
No. What is this lineup that you
Oh,
What
wow.
is it you speak of?
Like, what is that? That's a thing? Like, yeah, that's.
Only lineup you know is the Phillies lineup for the night, huh?
Yeah.
For his haircuts, you don't know nothing about that lineup.
I don't know what you're talking about. Damn, motherfucker, you.
Can't. Anywho, anything else you want to share about yourself?
The reason I'm about to retire. I've taken on a second job.
The lineup you know is the Phillies lineup for the night, huh? For his haircuts, you don't know nothing about that lineup. I don't know what you're talking about. Damn, motherfucker, you.
Can't. Anywho, anything else you want to share about yourself?
No one has had a proper finance and education. And because we haven't had a proper finance and education, we don't know how money works properly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing now. I've gotten into an industry. They're teaching me and training me on teaching and training people on their finances.
That's
Okay.
cool. I can dig it.
It's something that we all need.
It's true.
I'm not mad at that, man. I mean, we need more people, especially in the community, doing that. So.
Yeah.
And I feel
Exactly.
like it's just getting worse over time too.
Yeah.
You know, they don't teach that kind of stuff in school.
Hell no.
No,
I didn't learn finances until I got to college and had financial hardships.
that's when
Then I had to
everybody
learn.
learns. That's the problem.
Then I had to learn.
You
But
turn 18,
I
you
volunteered, became
get
a
a
financial
whole
literacy
bunch of credit
coach.
cards. They
Oh,
send
no.
you in the mail.
My mom was like, "Don't do that."
You're signing
Yeah, I
up
learned.
all of the Sally Mae.
Now Navient. Mm-hmm.
Now Navient, yeah, you got to pay that financial
I
aid.
don't even know who Sally Mae
Worse
is.
than 50 Cent. You don't want to. It's like the mob for schools.
Damn.
I'm glad I didn't.
Sally
I'm glad I
Corleone,
don't
or
have
what the
Sally
fuck is
Mae.
this?
I'm glad I didn't use them. They will call you. They just out of control. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I learned when I am buying Hot Pockets every day for food. This is
Wow.
The time I like realized, yeah, you need to
Need to
figure
get some
this
things
out.
together?
Yeah.
It'd be like that. Yeah, man.
Damn, bro.
Never felt like the inside of my mouth for a whole year. Like, yeah, I need to buy some real food and get this figured out.
Damn, G.
Yeah, man. It's
I don't know what to
important.
tell you on that one. Oh my lord. That's terrible.
Hot Pockets get you through though, low key. We did
I
noodles
mean, they
in college.
do, but
Them oodles and noodles in the microwave.
not them oodles and, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm still fucking with ramen now, so.
I haven't had
Oh,
them
Ain't
in
no
years.
shame in my game.
Yeah, to
Listen,
bring a
Oh
problem.
yeah,
I was
I like
tortured.
mine in a. I like mine in a cup though. I like to
I
pour
was
the hot
tortured
water
in
in the cup.
college. I don't want it no more. I don't want that. I don't want bologna sandwiches no more. I
Oh,
don't
man,
want it.
I'm
bougie.
I hate.
You
I was
damn
watching
right.
a-
I earned it.
You know, one of those like universal yums or whatever those recipe videos that they have out.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like so they had this whole thing about like ramen noodles and like what you can do with them, and they were like pouring noodles on top of chocolate and then pouring the spices on top
Wow.
of all of it. I don't know. I was like halfway barfing.
Oh,
through
okay.
it
Yeah, I'm
after
good on
The
that,
most
dog.
impressive thing I've seen with ramen noodles, I don't know if it was real or not. I see somebody fix a sink with fucking ramen noodles. Then they spray painted over. Like they put the ramen noodles, it was like a piece of the sink that was broke. So they put the ramen noodles and fitted it right in that piece. Like shaved it so it fit right in there. And spray painted it white so you couldn't even
I
tell
don't know how I feel
it
about
was
that.
part of the sink.
You should feel like this is something I definitely should not be consuming.
I don't know how to feel about that. Hey, but one of my college friends, he had a wok. He used to put something in there, some eggs, little hot dogs, because you know we couldn't afford sausage.
Oh my
Listen,
lord.
you had to mix it up, boy. You had to make it do what it do. But yeah. Yeah, but financial literacy, that's really cool. I was a financial literacy coach for the Boys and Girls Club back in Macon, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. I learned a lot there, and that's kind of where my journey started with it. So it's very important for sure. Joe's outside.
Oh.
Can you open the door from here?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Alright.
I got it. Hopefully he's at the door.
Real quick. That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
that's the video?
The video, what's the name?
Noodles.
Tell him to pull on the door or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Um.
I actually thought you meant like the cabinet, not the actual like.
No, the actual
broken
sink.
No, yeah, they fixed it. It makes me not want to eat.
That's
ramen.
a little unsettling. I'm not even gonna hold you, dog. That's unsettling.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
it's
don't
like
get it.
That's very unsettling.
Go home and throw all that mess away right now.
Yeah, bro. That's a. Hey, you might as well eat bologna, dog. I ain't even gonna hold you. That is
I
very
don't know if
unsettling.
he-
I know. Ain't no part of the pig can fix the sink. I ain't even gonna lie. That's what's up, though. Oh, he said it's not working.
it's working. Tell him to pull it now.
Oh God, I'm not going back and forth.
Do it now.
Man.
Yeah, thank you, Key. I'm sorry. I'm just so Yeah.
He's like executive producer.
Bro, I'm
slash
doing
director.
everything at the moment. Oh, it worked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Joe, cool. We already got a seat for you. Come on in, brother. Sit down.
You know you always forget the seat, bro. You got the tray, bro.
It's allowed, man.
Okay.
Y'all useful Negroes, man.
Oh, it's useful now.
Shit.
Come in throwing shots.
You had the George Foreman and the toaster girl, bro. We couldn't have none of that in our doors.
Joe, that's Naeem.
Where's Watkins? Oh, my name? Alright, I got you.
Nah, he.
You was
Naeem.
like, where's Watkins?
Shut your ass.
Naeem.
Naeem, that's Joe. This is our residential, just, I don't know.
Black
Fighting power.
intellectual.
Yeah,
That's what
he's
he's
here.
Our
He's
militant
here
black
for all
intellectual.
type of.
All types of militancy.
Yeah.
Black Panthers kicked him out because he was too militant. Dog.
They said, Brother Joe, you have to go. I know that rhyme. Joe's like, what do you mean? You know.
Okay, so
How was
my
your
week,
week?
it's been really cool. I told y'all a couple of episodes ago we're doing the documentary, or I'm participating in the
Yeah.
documentary. So we've had the separate interviews, and then we all got together to do like a talking session last Saturday. So it's been really cool. It's been really eye-opening. I think one of the biggest lessons I'm meant to learn this year is learning not to pass those split judgments. And it happens so quickly when you see people, like, even when, like, for example, one of the young ladies that's there, the first time I saw her, she walked in and she came in, sat down, and was just on her phone, like, didn't really speak to anybody, wasn't really open.
Okay.
So I was like, damn, she stuck up, like, damn, what the fuck? Like, what we do to you? That kind of thing. Cause it was just like that air of like, just don't fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's how I took it, but in listening to her story, basically she was just like, because of her attributes, she was teased a lot, and people would like look at her and talk about her and whisper about her. So as a result, she's learned to just not pay attention to people in the room so that she's not affected by it. And I was like, damn, like, that changes my whole point of view on her. Like, that changes, like, it makes it more understanding. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, and then other women, the other women there, they were sharing their stories too, and it was just super cool to hear it, because it made me more accepting of who they were. You know what I'm saying? So that's my lesson. I think that's my lesson this year in general: learning people's story before you pass judgment of any sort. So that, and I also learned that we have a certain lens, like Black women, when we get together. We have a certain lens on how we view one another. And I remember saying to my roommates before I went there, I was like, oh Lord, Black women, we got two modes. Either we ain't fucking with each other or we sisters. But it ain't no in between when we get together. It ain't no in between. So I was like, when I got there, I was like kind of on the edge. I wasn't sure if they were going to be like open and receptive. So I was like really quiet and withdrawn or whatever. And one of the girls, she was like, they were exchanging information. She's like, do you have an Instagram? And I was like, oh no, I don't have one. So later on we're talking, and I was explaining why I don't have a lot of social media and things of that nature. And she was like, oh, so you really don't have an Instagram? And I was like, no. She was like, oh, I thought you just didn't want me to be your friend on Instagram.
Oh my Lord.
It was like, because you wasn't really talking to nobody. And I was like, damn, like, and that, it had nothing to do with, what we had done, but simply the lens and how we view one another. You know what I'm saying? Like when we walk into a room. Yeah. And I thought it was ironic or interesting because when I'm amongst other races of women, I don't feel like I have to be on guard. It's only with my women, my race of women. So that's another lesson, you know, that I learned.
Now, is that from experience of dealing with other black women, or?
And I've never really had a lot of negative experiences with black women.
Or could it be through a social lens of what?
I think it's just always hearing my mom and my aunts like, oh, you can't mess with women. I don't have too many female friends. Like, you hear a lot of women say that. So it's kind of like, oh, you can't trust them, blah, 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 XYZ. But personally speaking, I haven't had those negative experiences with black women. Like, all of the friends that I've had since middle school, we're still friends to this day. Never had a falling out over anything.
Okay.
We just tell each other how we feel and keep it moving. Like, that's it, you know? So it was interesting because I didn't really realize that it had taken that kind of effect on me, like, as a person.
If people don't understand how words can affect things.
Yeah, they make a huge difference.
Words, you know.
They make a huge difference.
You speak negativity gonna happen. If you speak positive thing will come to you.
Yeah, because it affects how you, even if you think it affects how you react to people. It affects your energy towards people. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely, it was a learned lesson. But the documentary itself, again, is about just being natural in today's world. Where, you know, there's the exaggerated Coke bottle shape is popular now. You got your Instagram filters. You got your Brazilian piece or Brazilian hair and all this other stuff. So, like,
say Brazilian wax. I was gonna say.
Well, that too, but.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you know, so just like, how do you navigate that? How do you have those insecurities? Blah blah blah. XYZ. So it was just really interesting. I didn't realize that anorexia and bulimia was a black girl thing. Yeah. I had only heard of white women doing that, and one of the women in the group, she shared it. It's gonna be on TV, so that's why I'm gonna keep sharing it. But she shared that, and I was like,
what channel?
Wow. It's not gonna be a channel. Like, it's gonna be a viewing. So they're gonna do a private viewing for us, and then if we're okay with it, it's gonna be a larger viewing, so we can invite other people.
Excuse me. All right, cool.
So yeah, they just shared a lot of different things, and I think the biggest thing I learned is when it comes to societal norms, as far as beauty standards go and all that, like. You just have to really be careful of what you see, like what you allow into your spirit, and very conscious of what you allow other people to speak into your spirit. Because what I heard, the common thread was, well, you know, on Instagram I see this and I see that and blah 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 and XYZ. Yeah. So just getting rid of that, like detoxing. You know what I'm saying? Like not having those, because you can control if you see those images or not. You don't have to be on there. Mm-hmm. And the other part is what you hear from your mom, your aunties, those things, and they don't mean any harm, but when they make certain comments like, oh, I can't deal with your hair is too this, or don't get too black, or you better be happy you got a booty, all of these things we internalize and feel like in order to be a good looking woman, you have to have these things. They have to be this certain way. Mm-hmm. So it was cool. So yeah, that's all the educational shit I got. Outside of that, I bought my first sex toy. Oh. That's cool.
Man, I was wondering when this shit was about to get interesting.
It's all about transition.
Everybody want to talk now.
Hey, we like, so.
Hey.
I was like this. I was like, oh.
So yeah, that's
gratitude?
interesting.
Did you get gratitude?
No. Shout out to BK Netty, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Ryan Netty.
No, it's just like a little bullet or whatever. That's it. Side note, I do think it's very important for women to be able to pleasure themselves, and we start too late in life. Like the average woman doesn't start masturbating until like 19 or 20. That's ridiculous. So
now,
still throw that out there.
Now you bought the toy, but have you used it or you just?
I have. Here's what I've learned.
Here's what I've learned. I'm asking
No, for real. Toys are way different from just using like your fingers. Toys are way different. Like, cause the only place I've ever seen it is on porn, right? So usually those women, they just take it, they hold it to the clit, and they like, oh yeah, that's it. Yo, listen, that shit is dog. That's not the move.
That's not the move.
It's not the move. Like I called my roommate and I was like, I mean, I had an orgasm, but that shit was not fun, bro. I did not enjoy it at all. Like, what the fuck? She was like, yeah, you kind of gotta learn it, you know. I was like, damn, I didn't know I was gonna have to practice to get good at it. What the fuck? So yeah, it's been cool. I mean, a little bit, you know, the different vibes, you know, the different settings and shit. But you gotta find out what works for you. So it's been cool.
That's good. Interesting.
Yep.
Interessante.
It's important. Hey, ladies,
we can have a show on that by itself.
That's pretty much been my week, guys. And I'll be in Iowa on Sunday.
Bullets and watermelons.
I did have a lot of watermelon this week. I hate him. I said I did have a lot of watermelon this week because he said bullets and watermelon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know where the watermelon reference is from, right?
Huh?
We had a Joe explain what watermelons was on a long ago episode.
Oh, no, I ain't catch that. I ain't catch
Did I
that.
catch that episode?
No, I didn't.
After he goes outside.
Those who've been following us got that
Yeah,
joke.
they know about the water. Go ahead, Jake.
Let's see, what did I do this week? I gotta learn how to turn off work from home life.
Yeah.
Work-life
Because
balance. That's important.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about my training. So you guys know that I'm a behavioral detection officer, right?
Yeah.
So I started talking to my wife, and the one thing that they tell you to look the signs to look for is I can tell every single time my wife is lying to me now.
Damn, bro.
Damn, dog.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
That shit don't even
So when
sound
you saying
funny.
ignorance is bliss, you was fine before when you was
I
ignorant to
probably
that?
was fine with that.
Okay.
You know, like
Not knowing that she was
Not-
lying, but now that you
right.
know, it's like, how do you react to that now?
like
Do you call her on her bullshit?
Yeah, I
Just
call her
let
the bullshit.
Oh, you do? Immediately,
Yeah.
like you just shook it
Yeah.
down. Oh, damn, okay.
and then she gets pissed off and she's like, "Stop profiling me." And blah, blah, blah.
I was gonna say, or she could just like, you
Just
know,
stop lying.
tell them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just say, just tell the truth.
I mean, there's a simpler.
Even if it's, I don't want to talk about this right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like a simpler way of doing it.
I don't like when you say that.
Like, yes. Yeah, so it's been pretty funny.
I don't think I would want to have that ability. Well, some men probably are. I think some men might not want to know the truth all the time or know
Right.
somebody lying to them. You know, it's kind of like
I just want the truth, man.
some men do, and some men are perfectly fine with believing that they doing whatever they doing. Because let's just say you get finished with a session, a freak session, and you ask, yeah, baby, that was good. I'm the best. Or I did this in the third, and she's like, yeah, daddy, you tore it up, and you can tell, like.
Bro, if you got an ass, you ain't doing it right. You should
Some
have
men like that reinforcement. Some men need that reinforcement. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Not
yeah, I
but
guess
some
you're
men
right.
need that reinforcement.
Trust what she said. You gotta-
No, I agree. But I'm
Maybe.
saying.
Like it? Probably didn't.
Yeah, I'm about to say, if you gotta do all that, though, it's like.
She's
bruh.
like, I wasn't even in the room. I went to go get us.
Like, who was I fucking then? Oh, throw my pillow up.
Listen.
These sheets are wonderful.
That thing wet.
Like, what is that?
Is it?
I think Kevin Hart had a joke about that.
Like these days, no, I'm just ovulating. That's it. It's not.
Oh,
Yeah. You know, it's wetter when you're ovulating, so it doesn't mean that
I-
you're
No, no,
actually
no,
being
I
pleasure.
wouldn't
You
know.
know.
I just ate that.
Some dudes don't know that.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's not nasty shit. That's how you got here. Your mama had to ovulate.
Exactly. Come on, man.
Yeah, but I don't want to hear that.
Man, you be alright. Oh, but you want to hear about her
I mean,
playing
but
with toys, though.
you get that good juice when you ovulate. Though. You get
Wait,
that good juice.
Look,
All that science.
he excited about you playing with toys, but he don't want to hear about nothing else.
I mean, I bought that when I was ovulating. So.
Oh, he's like, now he's like, I'm
First of all, I was asking for a friend, like I said, so it wasn't for me. I was
oh, you
asking
talking
for
about Bosch Greyers?
I was asking for our male viewership.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait a second, yeah, because
You got fans out here.
Yeah, you
I'm
really
telling
do
you.
got some fans out here, though, for real. They
You
be
got
like,
groupies, man. Groupies.
yeah, you got some groupies. They trying to eat your
They want to
butt.
be gropies and grope you and shit, but we tell them that's.
Yeah, we told us now.
That's
We ain't gonna get.
detrimental
You don't
to
want to
their
get punched in
health.
the
No, I
mouth.
tell them like, yo, she gonna shoot you. She got
Yeah.
like,
My daddy actually told me I shouldn't get a gun because I probably would shoot somebody.
Exactly. You be out here with the Wazer rifle. Like, wow. Like, what is
I
that?
hate him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jake.
Sorry, Jake. Lie detector.
Yeah, so lie detector stuff. No, but anyway, I was kind of cracking up because I was watching the news, and I'm about to go on a cruise next month, and I saw that whole thing with the Caribbean cruise line. Did you see what happened?
What happened?
No.
They were leaving St. Martin, and apparently 2 people missed the boat to go back home.
Oh.
So apparently there's like these, I guess they
They
missed
pull
the
off.
times or
They
something
pull
like that.
off.
So
Yeah.
once it's time to sail, they sail. They don't care who's on the boat or not. So they were like on the dock and they see this ship taken away, but apparently there's these giant hands and somebody was just waving to them on the dock
That's so
as
shitty.
they were leaving.
That's fucked up.
That's so shitty.
Wow.
I'm like,
Yo.
if I was on the boat, I'm like, I'm shocked that it actually wasn't me.
So how did you get home?
I mean, I'm about to say, you just gotta, you
Slide.
gotta
You
get a
gotta wait it
flight.
out, I guess.
You gotta get a flight.
Yeah,
Damn.
some my nieces almost did that. I left one
Give me the
niece
mic.
that was
Yeah.
responsible. My bad. I don't know if it.
Did I steal your mic?
On one of our family cruises, right? I left my responsible niece in charge of my other nieces. I was tired, right? So I said they asked send me up frogs in Cozumel, and I was like, make sure they get there back on time. Because she's the only one that wasn't drinking, and she was just responsible, but she was out with them, right? So they weren't aware that the time where in Cozumel was not the time
For the boat.
for the boat.
There's a difference, yeah.
Yeah, hour difference. They're telling my niece, who I left in charge, oh, it's this time. My niece is like, no, it's this time. And she had to keep pleading until they heard the horn go off. Oh my God, you were right. So, yeah, they would have, if she wasn't there, they would have missed the boat.
Jesus.
That's why she's the responsible.
Exactly.
So I have a whole bunch of stories from the last time I was on a few cruises, and Nancy hates me for these, pretty much.
Oh no.
The first time we went on a cruise, so I had two-way radios, and I kept on talking to my buddy who went on the cruise with us. I'd give him one radio, and I'd keep the other, and we'd go back and forth. And
Where you at?
I am where I'm at. Sorry.
Yeah, so no, so I made up crap every time I wanted to meet up with him. I told him that, I'm like, hey, his name's Lappy, we call him Lappy. I'm like, hey, Lappy, we're gonna go deep sea fishing off the back of the boat. Meet me back here, and make up stupid stories every single time I was trying to meet up with him.
Yeah.
So it went on, I'm doing swan dive lessons off the front of the boat. Well then, we're leaving one port, and I told Lappy, I'm like, listen, buddy, I just ran into the captain. He's gonna tell me we're in shark-infested waters so I can know where to throw Nancy overboard. All of a sudden, this guy gets on the radio. He's like, "Identify yourself." And I was like, "No, screw that. Turn the radio off."
Damn, bro.
Yeah. So it kind of like when I heard the story, I kind of thought it was like it's something I would have done.
Hey, Lee, what's up?
So the other time was my wife kept on buying drinks, but she would never finish them. So she would hand it to me, and I would still be buying my own beer, and I'd be finishing a beer and her fruity drink or whatever the hell she bought.
Not her fruity
Those
drink.
are fruity drinks, dog.
I'm sorry, but yeah, it doesn't mix well with.
So you was drinking
alcohol.
Cosmos and Bud Lights?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I got to a point where I got so drunk that I pulled up my shirt and I told everybody it was a good night to walk my stomach. So I'm walking around with my shirt, with my stomach hanging out, and I'm petting my stomach all the way walking around the deck.
Damn, bro.
So I get to this point where I'm in front of the windows of a steakhouse, and I'm like fingering my belly button, watching these people eat a steak, and just licking my lips, staring at it. And my wife's like, "Yeah, you're cut off. We're not taking you anywhere."
Hey, I'm glad you wasn't on that boat Cuba Gooding was on
Ignorant.
Oh, you talking about what was the name of that
Boat
thing? Boat or some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Have you seen that movie?
No, I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
He was on a boat and he was a bunch of like gay dudes
It
or
was a
something.
gay
Like that. It was supposed to be a gay
No.
cruise.
Yeah, you
That
get
is
over there
bad.
rubbing your belly, licking your lips and shit, yeah.
They're like, oh, I could rub your belly.
I got some steak for you.
Oh my. Mine's tigers and bears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his should be fucking up sometime. Don't worry about it. Yeah, his might be fucking up sometime. Don't worry about it. Go ahead, Joe. How was? Oh, Jake, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good week. Overall, personally, of course, that's me.
No, he's.
Oh, no, okay.
Nah.
A lot of tragedies, of course.
Yes.
Which I guess we'll get into.
A lot.
Tony Morrison passed away.
Yes,
One of my favorites.
yes.
Blessed to
Love her.
now she has moved on to the next realm.
Somebody said, please don't let Oprah make another one of her books into a movie.
Yeah, that was a mistake for that guy. Jesus.
Damn, bro.
So
They doing her like that?
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it's my it's my mother's birthday weekend. It's always a powerful weekend for me. Just the energy is always pretty good. Other than that, my Malik is already standing up. At 6 months, he really wants to walk already. So I'm happy about that. Other than that, it's just been, taking care of business.
He literally looks like you, but in baby form. Like,
Yep.
I'm like, look at little Joe.
He calls him Joe now, so I'm like, that's not his name.
He
You
be
know?
sitting up there with
He
his
has
finger in
four
his face,
names.
like.
Facts.
He makes my.
Damn, baby.
Like, I feel like in his head, he'd be like, nah, fuck the formula, because you see, formula, it's in the water, see? I feel like that's what he be saying in his head, like.
Yup.
Yeah.
Trying to slow me down.
Exactly. You know, he's messing with my what's it called, Daddy? You know what?
How
I don't
to the
need
babies.
you. We ain't got no time for that.
How
So
to
you
the
know.
babies.
Exactly. Yeah.
He be about to stop crying. He be like, I got one more thing to cry about.
Damn, dog. That's one more thing.
One more thing to cry.
Before I was leaving, he was standing up, right? Like, but he couldn't like take a hand down to like. So I was giving him like a high five, right?
Yeah.
You know, like a little handshake thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked at me like, yeah.
Like, really? You
You
don't see me standing? You don't see me trying to stand?
I was like, this dude cursed me out.
Curse you out of baby.
Like, he doing my face to me. Like, I used to say my face to me.
Don't you
know?
see me doing something over here?
Like,
Let me get one thing at a
Four.
time. One thing at a time.
I was like, oh,
My bad.
My
I hurt
bad.
myself.
My
But
bad, brother. I'm sorry.
Wow. Oh, well, I guess it's my turn. First thing
Yep.
first, today is my birthday.
Woo!
Happy birthday.
Turn
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
you should talk about that.
Turned 37 today.
Woo!
Okay,
Feliz
okay.
Didn't really
cumpleaños.
do shit. I just did a lot of, I guess, reflecting. Just
That's a
chilling,
good thing to do on your birthday, I think.
You know, because a lot of, I went back to my hometown Saturday, over the weekend basically. We have a festival there every year. And, you know, I linked up with some old friends and stuff like that, my old hood and shit. Even though my hood now is gentrified, than a motherfucker. That shit don't even look the same. But
Yeah, a lot of that going on right now.
so I went down there and, you know, like I said, I seen a lot of people, you know, from my past or whatever. And, you know, for the most part, everybody doing good, you know. It was pretty cool. But the one thing I did notice is it's a lot of fucking junkies out there in West Virginia. Like, in my town, it's like fucking zombie land. Like,
So it's more junkies than cousin fucking?
I can't.
Well, listen, I don't know who cousins, but I know
Well, they definitely fucking
All
junkies.
the cousins
I don't know what
getting high.
Yeah.
They fucking or not. All the
whether
cousins
they fucking or not, they
getting
getting high. They
high.
walking around shooting up and getting shot in the ass too. I guess I don't know what the fuck going on.
Damn.
But
What's going on out there? Is it meth?
yeah, meth, pills, opioids,
Oh, okay.
heroin, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Heroin is old, is tried but true. It withstands the test of time.
but like I said, when I went out there, like, yeah,
When
I don't
he
get
picked
caught
up
up
that
in
mic, I was about to
bullshit.
say, what the fuck you about to say about heroin, Joe? Shit.
Heroin.
I'll say about heroin.
Heroin.
Well, we have that all day. After he's done, I'll talk about heroin.
Oh, Lord.
that dog food. But yeah,
Back in old 1943.
I was going there. Hey,
Hey,
you gonna be like, thank about former
my family
occupation.
was steeped in heroin. Trust
Oh,
me.
my.
Go ahead.
Continue, Josh. Go ahead. Take as long as you got to, Josh.
Josh Haley said happy birthday.
Oh, sorry, I said thank you. But yeah, you know, that's one of the things I noticed out there is it's definitely a drug epidemic. Cause ain't shit to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it ain't nothing. You just
Sit
there. Like, it ain't no
Sitting around.
touristy
chilling.
shit going on,
Yeah.
and, you know, like, so motherfuckers just sitting around getting high,
Getting high.
basically, you know. And the one thing about West Virginia, because it's such a poor state, they have a lot of government programs there to help people out, because it ain't a lot of money coming into West Virginia, so basically the welfare benefits are higher in West Virginia than, say, like another state, because it's such a poor state. And so a lot of people want fixed income, so they know they're gonna get that check. That check go to the dope man, whatever they do with it, you know, it is what it is. But
Dope man.
Well, who the dope man out there?
I do not know or recollect any dope man out there. I didn't see any. I might have hung around a couple of them. I might have been around a couple of them and didn't know it. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, them
I
boys
don't
out
know
there
if
living
they
large.
were or not.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody.
Damn.
Somebody might. I don't. But it's definitely like I've noticed. That was something that really stood out when I was there. And I was talking to one of my homeboys. He's like, "Yeah, bro, that shit bad out here." Yeah. I mean, I don't fuck with it no more. But if a nigga was to come down here and get in the game, there's money to be made. But at the same time, it's like everybody either on it or somebody sells. So it's like you gotta get in where you fit in on that end. But it's crazy.
It's detrimental to the neighborhood regardless of which end you're on.
Yeah, it really is. Cause like it's funny because I was on the porch with my homeboy and I was about to ride with him to go see another friend, and I had a bottle of liquor with me, and I left it on the porch. He like, yeah, bro, and I got in the car. He like, bro, what a bottle at? And I was like, oh shit, I left it on the porch. He like, man, go grab that shit. One of them junkies that go grab that bottle and come around here and try to sell us the same bottle. It's like that, bro. He like, bro, yeah,
Hey,
bro, I'm gonna sell your bottle for $20. I'm like,
I would have left it just to see that dog. I ain't even gonna lie. Catch a junkie trap.
And he was dead. I was lying. I was laughing. He was
you
dead
could do a video
serious.
series called "To Catch a Junkie." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
But
that
hey,
shit
let me
be
talk
dope.
to you real quick.
I'm dying because that on the streets of Philly, that's all you get. Like you drop something for a second, like, yo man, you want this wallet?
I said your wallet for $5.
Oh, so you really want it? Okay, T, what's up?
No cash in it.
I found it. Did I get a reward? Bruh.
You mean outside of what you just
stole
told?
it from me.
I'm like, damn, bro. It's like that. He's like, yeah, man, it's bad out here. Like, lock all your doors, make sure your shit's straight, because these motherfuckers is breaking your shit. Like, they looking for any way to.
Oh, they trying to get in.
They trying to get it because they
They
got a habit to feed. So
they walking dead.
when you that fucked up, and your money, you ain't got no money, you gonna do whatever it is to feed that habit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's crazy out there.
It's pretty.
Shout out to all the functioning junkies out there, you know,
Wait,
that can
what?
hold a job. And, I'm just saying they ain't robbing people, you know what I'm saying? That can hold a job and still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a
Because
Because they not robbing people. They got an honest living.
Yeah.
They pay their rent.
They just want to get
And they
high.
go get high.
How about this? I'm not mad at the fact that
I've been around a lot of functioning
But the
junkies.
fact that you
My
said-
father was for a long time. He was a
the fact
functioning
that
crack
she said,
addict.
Shout out to all the functioning junkies.
All the functioning junkies, dog. It made
I ain't
a
gotta worry
difference.
about you breaking in my shit.
Yeah, I ain't gotta worry about that. You gonna go to work. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't mad at that.
Okay.
It's the unfunctional ones that you gotta watch out for.
Okay.
Dysfunctional, I should
There are
say.
far more functional ones than not functional.
Okay.
There are.
I agree.
There are.
Okay.
Put the mic down.
Let's talk about
Not too many slabs out there. It's
Oh
like
God, don't do drugs.
Stay full of
Hashtag
slabs,
there.
G.
Wait up.
That better.
Hold on.
God.
Shit. Fuck. Go ahead, Joe. Talk about heroin. Shit.
You didn't even tell us about your weekend.
I know, because he want to talk about heroin so bad.
No, I really don't. Not right
Oh,
now.
I'm talking about that.
I'll talk about it real quick.
Head
But
wrong.
after you.
So I want to talk about. I just want to talk about.
Just a little bit.
But
Go ahead.
that was it.
My week. My week, it was decent, man. You know, it was a week. Let's put it that way. It wasn't good, bad, ugly, nothing. It was just a week, man. Just been working, getting overtime and all that shit, and damn near killing myself. You know, I be tired of shit after doing all that overtime and everything. Just been chilling, man. Me and T, trying to plan the next trip. Thinking about going to Nolans.
Ooh.
So that might be pretty cool.
You gonna hit her with that Hardy girl?
Awesome sauce.
Ooh, not the Hardy girl. Oh shit.
Anytime I go to that casino,
Gonna be-
I always come out on top.
Oh shit. Oh Lord, you nasty. Oh wow.
Man, job grenades, right?
Oh shit.
Oh, them shits is bomb, dog.
Take her to the fat
Them
screw
shits bomb.
Which one?
The hand grenades.
Ooh, not the hand
Yeah,
job grenades.
it's bomb. Yeah, it's like 4 different alcohol.
I ask people what's in it. Nobody knows.
It's on the internet. You can. But
I don't think I wanna know.
That's it with that.
Sports
that
Let's take the
baseball.
mystique
But it's
away
all
from it.
like it's fine until you get to the grenade part, and then you be like, oh my god.
It's like all the.
Oh, it's a grenade part?
Yeah, so it's like a long, like the long tubular portion, and then that's connected to the bottom. It looks like a hand grenade.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
so
know that.
and you know all the alcohol kind of flows to the top. So by the time you get to the bottom, that's when you get all the alcohol. It took me out, bro. I couldn't even dance it off. My entire world was spinning.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
I just thought it was a drink.
We went out at 8. I was done by 12:30, like
the
in my
sour
bed.
stuff, it's always sticks to the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
No, nobody wants that.
It's worth it though. But if you do that, it's a $12 drink. But if you do that, you don't need no shots.
Yeah, I heard
for the rest of the
that
night.
right there.
I promise you.
Okay.
At least for me,
That's
I
one
ain't
of those
really a
things, too,
drinker.
is that in New Orleans, it's awesome, which is you buy one of those things. 'Cause I usually bought the fishbowl thing, which it was like you bought it once for like $15, and then it's like $5 to refill every single time.
Oh,
It's
Totally.
ridiculous. And everybody's always buying drinks.
Yeah.
Like we was in the chicken joint, and old dude was like, "Y'all want some shots of tequila?" My girls don't want no more. They good. All right, sure. Ended up getting 2 shots of tequila, getting some chicken. Like they be
That sounds
chilling.
about right.
I didn't know no.
That's
For
something
real,
to look
man.
forward
They
to.
be drunk and they just want to have a good time.
Hey, that's
So-
something to look forward to whenever it's time when you take this
Yeah,
trip.
man. Don't stop piling alcohol. It's unnecessary.
Drive through daiquiri spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
You gotta
It
drive
was
through daiquiri spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
And then
4
they got
of
a big
us.
post up that says "Don't drink and drive."
Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft.
Gave it to me
Uber and Lyft.
with my car in drive.
Yeah. Like, bro, you
Valid
like
point.
they had a what was what's that name of that channel? Travel channel or some shit like that.
Oh,
They always have like the wildest places to do this or they get that. They had that shit. And I was like, this is real? I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
like, yep, I know what I'm about to do. So,
When me and the first time we went for Essence Festival. We all
oh,
bought
I
a
was saying you
bottle.
wasn't there for Mardi Gras?
We all brought a bottle, and we didn't open the bottles.
That sounds
Ever.
about right.
So when me and Nancy had our joint bachelorette party when we went down there, and it was the week before Mardi Gras, and Nancy got so drunk and went into one of those like pizza shops right off of Bourbon Street.
I know what you're talking about. That pizza bomb.
Yeah, but the only difference is that the bathroom was backed up this day. The whole place smelled like straight up shit, and my wife's like, "This pizza's amazing."
No, because it really is that good. Though. It really is that good though. Listen,
Who was back there?
I got that chicken, spinach, and garlic pizza. Yeah, that shit was busting out.
Somebody had more than garlic than
Yeah.
But yeah.
Continue on.
Yeah, man. Other than that, man, there's nothing really else going on. Just trying to plan for the next trip. Other than us just figuring out like, all right, what's the next move as far as like getting more money or business ideas, anything else we got going on. That's usually what we're talking about nowadays. Like, hey, what can we do to further grow as individuals and as a unit? So we've been bouncing ideas off of each other about certain things. I'm like, okay, I wouldn't mind doing this, and she's like, hey, I might look into doing that also. Let's see. Other than that, I haven't really had anything else going on for my week. Man. I'm just ready to get paid tomorrow. Oh, this is one thing. Like, this is something that's always been, like it might not be, important to y'all, but I finished paying my car off like last month.
I'm hella jealous, but I'm really happy for you.
Damn, bro.
So
eyes free.
Yeah.
Yes.
So today I go to my grandmother's house, and shout out to my grandma. I love her dearly. I checked the mail, and I was like, "What's this?"
It's your title.
Got my title. I said,
Own some shit.
"Yeah, I needed that."
Awesome.
So I'm like, because now I know it's official.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna put my sticker on my car because I had to go ahead and pay my registration fee again and shit. You know what I'm saying? Do all that shit. My taxes on my car. Other than that, man, it's just like, all right, cool.
That's so dope.
What's next on the list for things for me to tackle as far as saving money and doing this? Do I want to invest the money into something else? So, I got this extra money now. It's like, all right, what am I going to do? Do I want to stay in Rock Hill after my lease is up? Because my lease is up in October. Like, do I want to stay in Rock Hill? Do I want to move to Charlotte, Fort Mill? Do I want to go somewhere else? Like, I got so much shit I can think about now. I'm like, yo, this extra $300 a month.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
that's
fat.
You
about,
need to hire a financial advisor.
how much is that?
$300 a month.
It depends. Some of them, it depends. So some of them, you pay them like per month, or you get paid. Oh, you talking about you? Oh, let me stay out my lane. Let me stay out your lane.
How about
Stay in mine.
Yes, yes.
Let me stay in mine.
If you continue to cut my hair,
Ooh.
we might have a deal.
Okay.
Well,
Quid pro
I
quo.
can't agree to Bet.
You can give me a
On
week.
air.
Look, he's like this. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna have all this extra money to do, some different stuff. So like I said, I'm just excited to not have to worry about $300 being taken from my check.
Oh damn, I can't wait.
But the lovely thing about it is like, I always paid extra on my car payments because I was supposed to be done in late November, early December.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I always try to add extra, do this and that. And
Man, I wish I could. Student loans kicking my ass.
man, I feel bad for you. I really do. That's a type of pain I don't ever want to feel.
I got a plan. 5 years and that's it. I'm debt free. Everything.
That's what's up. I ain't mad at that.
That's great. You got to set a plan. I mean,
Yeah, bro. They ain't about to get my money.
if you looking to accomplish
worked
something,
too
you have to
hard.
set a plan.
I work too hard.
But question. So how much would it take to hire a financial advisor?
Oh,
In general.
It's not gonna cost you nothing to hire me.
You said what?
It can cost you nothing to hire me. I put you in a room full of people who can talk to you about nothing but finances.
Oh, okay.
See?
Oh, you wasn't here when we.
Yeah, he missed this
it
part
when he said
I was speaking
he
earlier.
said he spoke to a millionaire this week who he's a millionaire in training.
That's the other industry I'm in, is in the finance industry.
Okay.
And that's the goal, is to teach people how to earn extra income,
Yeah.
how to protect their income that they have coming in, and how to prepare for their retirement.
Okay.
Yeah, that's important, dog.
Important really ain't even the word.
Yeah,
It's necessary.
It is necessary, and no one's teaching it.
I
already
wish.
said once 45, I'm trying to be semi-retired. Like, only consult when I want to.
Ain't no semi
If I want to. Well, I don't want to get bored, you know? You
I
got a
won't
little
get
brain.
bored.
I've been telling him I'm trying to retire from that barber shop by 40.
Bro, will you
4
stop
more
saying
years. Then that's like max, like 4 years.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Not
You
minimum.
do that, but look, once you retire, I'm just gonna grow my shit out. I'm gonna just get it locked up. I'm not getting no more haircuts.
Ooh, then you and Bay could be twins.
Nah, fuck that though. Because my thing is this, man, like when you got somebody who is talented, gifted, blessed,
Oh, stop.
with his hands to create miracles on people's heads, right?
You sound like you're preaching about cutting hair right now.
Listen to me now.
Hallelujah.
Listen to me now.
Lord.
So
For miracles.
I'm just saying, like,
You done got that holy water from old dude where you sending the money.
not Peter
and you
Papa.
get it.
I want to punch him sometimes because he looks scary.
Is that a dude come on after uncut? Used to go off.
Yeah, he like, he like, I got some of that miracle spring water. I'm like, bro.
You like, must be your ass because it ain't your. And you go $5 for this miracle spring water. You like, oh, I'm trying to watch the tip drill video, bro.
Exactly. I'm trying to see some geeks.
That's exactly how you feel.
Shit.
That's awful.
But no, like I said, man, when it comes to you, like, bro, you have been doing a great service. Like, the moments that I can't get a haircut, I don't even find another barber. I just go without a haircut. And I'm like, man, I'm just not gonna get my haircut.
That is an ultimate compliment to a
Bro, that's being real because you have to, the one thing.
Ooh, you look bad.
Let me tell you a story.
Oh, no, not a story.
So when I moved to Greenville, South Carolina, I go down there and I was told, hey man, you should go to this barbershop, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I'm in the town. Why not? Go to the barber. I don't know how easier I can make this. I said this, give me a bald fade, and when it comes to my beard, just line it up. Don't bring it down. Don't really touch it. You ain't got to do nothing with it. Bald fade, do not touch my beard. I'm sitting in the chair because, you get comfortable. As men, we get comfortable in that chair, so we gonna chill for a little bit.
You should fall asleep.
Yes, you could kind of know, especially since I don't really know this man. Like, so I'm just like, all right, I gave him simple instructions. I don't have to worry about it. Cool. I started feeling the side of my face get cold.
What, he was putting cream on it?
No. I'm just
Like
like,
hair to skin contact with no beard.
what the fuck? I said,
Skin get exposed.
So, one side of my beard is like this, lined up perfectly. The other side turned into a thin strip. I said, my man. I said, that's my words exactly. Like, my man. Why'd you bring that down? Well, you didn't stop nothing, baby.
Baby. Oh, you baby.
This is set up.
I said, oh my Lord. Then I felt.
That's too much your way to man and baby.
I feel my head. I'm like,
No,
I asked for a bald fade. I mean, that's a fade. I was like, bro, that's not a bald fade. Meaning, should be no hair right here.
Means you use your edges, not your clippers.
Thank you. This is why I fuck with him.
Yeah.
Because he knows that he has a skill. It's not even a skill. It's a God-given gift. So, ever since that day, mind you, I was driving from Greenville, South Carolina, to come back and get a haircut from him. That's a 2-hour drive.
Damn, bro.
Yes. I made sure I came back to get a haircut from him. And in the weeks he wasn't there, I was so hurt. I was like, fuck, I'm about to look like shit for the rest of the week, yo. And I'm just back down there miserable. They're like, what's wrong with you? I ain't getting a haircut.
Damn, bro, you fucked your beard up that bad, bro?
Bruh.
So hold on, one side look like James Harden, the other side like 50 Cent?
Yes.
Damn.
No, not even 50 Cent. One side looked like James Harden, and the other side looked like
Jay-Z.
I don't know. Somebody
have a
who
beard.
didn't have hair, yeah. So I had to start over again. So I had to shave all my shit off and start all over again. I was so, you know how mad I was, dog? For most men who didn't know they could grow a beard, once you find out you can grow a beard and then you have a beard, and you see that women like the beard, because a woman told me, hey, you should grow a beard. That might be cute on you. All right. Grow the beard. And the chicks was like, oh, you look different.
Yeah,
I was like,
I got a third of a beard and I'm not cutting mine off.
hey, hold on strong.
This is like a year worth.
So,
Been using that beard oil to make it grow?
exact, oh yeah, using that beard oil, something like that, growing.
I don't even, so when I meet guys, I like to be like, I need to see you without your beard. Because one day you might decide to cut it. And if you're not cute, I'm going to be mad. Like, what the fuck, dog?
I know.
You know what they should do?
Shit back, bro.
You know what they should do?
In the inside, and you know all that mess y'all like.
But I still gotta want to give you some though. Otherwise,
You
we
can
can be
still give
friends
them
and
some.
I
Look, this
can
should
lick
be
you
an
on the
app.
inside.
This
Like,
Speaking of which, you a financial advisor, I just got an idea.
Oh,
What if
no.
I can invent an app where a woman can hold their phone up
Hold
to a
the phone
man
up and
and
then
then
be
see
like,
how
how
he
you
look
look
like no
without the
beard?
beard?
If he ain't got no beard, vice versa.
They got
That'd
the
be
age
dope
gap
as
out
fuck.
there, right?
They really do. That was supposed
That'd
to
be like a Snapchat filter or
That's
something.
someone you gotta give it a program or something.
I'm just saying, like, when this man says that he wants to retire, like, I mean, as a friend, because I don't consider you just my barber, you're my friend. Like, I consider
Exactly,
you
yeah,
a
man.
friend. We've conversed many times about stuff. Probably need to hang out more, but you know, you got
Yeah.
kids and shit, and I don't know what that shit feels
All
like.
right. I'm
So,
busy right now, but
exactly.
eventually I
But
have more free time.
yeah, but it's just like when I hear that, I'm like, bro, you don't understand. Like, you're really doing a good service for like. For real, like he's really doing a service. Like most people, like, yeah, you know, my barber just not like, no, this man actually does a good service.
Well, he
you
could
know,
be a
so-
sensei and pass his teachings on to the next.
Well,
person.
we try. Sean knows we train as well.
Oh yeah, they got
Go to
school.
school.
Oh, well, see?
Yeah, you ain't never rode past the school? It's on Black Street.
I go-
218 West Black
Going
Street.
toward
I go to
downtown.
one
It's
of
on
the
Black
places
Street?
in Rock Hill. That's
Yeah.
it. I don't
It's
know.
on the
Well,
corner.
I'm about to-
Beside the post office.
Yeah, about near downtown. Like if you was riding towards the library.
Okay, I've been to the library.
So if you're going past the library, it'll be on your left right before you get to the library and all that shit. Right
Oh,
across the
okay.
street from the post
So
office.
you would train somebody to become a master barber, or like, how far does it go?
Oh, it goes
You
as
say
far
that
as you
we-
gonna take it. I
Like
guess.
it's a master barber. What's the
Yeah,
highest
yeah, yeah.
level
Well,
barber?
when you come out of
Black belt
school,
barber?
you have to go take the state required test.
Yeah.
You can get your registered barber license or your master barber license.
Okay, but you train people for that purpose.
Yes,
How much do you charge?
like 14,000.
Joe, you about to get another job.
So hold on. It's on the corner. It's on Black Street, right?
No,
That's
for
where
my,
it's
for,
going?
my, for my son, he graduated high school this year.
Oh, that's what's up, that's
Just because he went to the Air Force, but that's not until he's 18.
Mm-hmm.
He graduated early from high school, so
That's good, yeah.
just asking how long that would take. Because I mean, a skill is a skill. You never
Oh, yeah,
know. You're in the
exactly.
Air Force
You
base.
take it anywhere, man.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
You might make
Making
some
some
money
extra
like that.
money.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Y'all need to converse.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, see, this is. I know I'll be having the right ideas.
black business, man.
Yeah.
This is Black working. Black.
Look, Jake could get some
With
skills
Jake.
too. Shit.
We don't discriminate, Jake.
Exactly.
I
That
got a
one.
white guy
You
right
don't
now.
have,
Yes,
Jake, you don't
they do.
have
They
to.
do.
You don't have to have
What's
the
up
or
with my
both
man?
cuts, Jake. It's
what's
okay.
Francisco? You can have drinks, Cracker.
He's in there.
I don't consider our people crackers, but go ahead.
I don't either, man.
Wow.
I'm down for the cause.
Okay.
I just like the Irish temperament.
Yeah,
Like, they be
Histor-
ready to pop
don't-
off. I can respect
historically,
that.
no.
Don't call me potato.
No.
Potato.
I I just respect
Potato?
their temperament.
Yeah.
I love it.
Other than that, man, I don't know.
Can
But
we talk about the sad shit?
is there anything on the docket? 'Cause
The 4 shootings?
I don't want to talk about that, but
Hold on.
because that's just depressing.
I would put it like this.
Well, I just want to talk about something in relation to it. Go ahead.
But not just the shootings in general, but all the things behind the shootings and
The status of the country. Right
and the status of the country, the history of everything, and
I'm sure you're gonna break it down for us.
there's so much to digest from this that it's unimaginable. Even the heroin thing I was gonna talk about is related. No, for real.
I thought you forgot about it.
No, I don't forget about anything.
So is anybody gonna set this up, or we're just gonna go straight to it?
We can go straight into it.
Well, okay, so for
But I
those
do want to get everybody's,
for
opinion
those
on
who
it.
don't know, starting the week before last, there had been a total of 4 shootings within 7 days. California, Mississippi, Texas, and Ohio. I think it was altogether 70 people that died.
2 in California now.
Oh, there's 2 in California now. There was 70 people that died. I don't know how many people were injured and things of that nature. Everyone but one of them was apprehended. One of them took their own life. I forgot which city that was in.
That was in Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, okay. I know one of the shooters took their own life, but the others were apprehended in one piece. And,
Well, no, actually, he didn't take it. I think they said the police
He said he was shot.
He
Oh,
was
they
killed
said
by
he was
police.
shot? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
But
okay.
that story did change over time though. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, see, I don't, so yeah, it's just really sad, and I saw, I came across a Fox article. Side note, I stopped looking at Fox,
I'm about to say
CNN, all
Fox.
that. I use BBC World News now.
Whoa,
I just feel like it's less,
BBC
like,
News?
it's, y'all ignorant.
Who watches
I-
Fox?
And
Like,
BBC and
News is big and
NPR. I just feel like they're less biased
everybody
in
knows how
general, so.
Fox is.
I mean, but CNN as well. They're both biased, but they're biased on
But
different
people keep
different
watching
sides
them
of the
and see how
spectrum.
corrupt and biased they're going to be. Like, stop watching.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't tell you last time I watched Fox.
So, one of the articles on Fox, a gentleman made a statement. He basically said that these shootings are a result of broken, fatherless homes. That's why these men, these young boys are shooting up these places, and I was just flabbergasted.
Yeah.
To say the least.
I'm
was-
disheveled.
It was comical.
Oh shit.
I do believe that one of the actual shooters said that as his plea case in one of the trials, though.
Because he came from a broken home.
Broken home.
I want to punch him in his fucking throat.
So I think he was just using whatever he could.
Of course, yeah.
Um,
Shit, someone got off of being rich and not knowing that they had consequences, so why not?
And
Try it out.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said there was 2 in California, the second one was not gun related, so it didn't get that much news.
Stabbing, right?
It was a stabbing. They
Yeah.
stabbed 7 people, killed 4.
Yeah.
And
When was this?
Just
Today
last week.
or
yeah.
a couple of days ago?
Yeah. 2
Well,
days
yesterday,
ago.
something like it was
Wow.
like recent.
Yeah. But because it's not gun related,
Yeah, nobody's
Yeah.
talking about it.
no blasting it all over any place.
yeah.
I feel like you should talk about that more than anything else, because I'm like, bro, you gotta be a really disturbed individual to stab and kill 7 people.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
stabbing people takes a lot of energy.
It does.
Anybody can shoot somebody. I don't care who you are. Anybody can shoot somebody. I know plenty of pussies who got guns. But for somebody who has a knife and he's going to get up on you and cut you or stab you, something is wrong with you. Like, you are deranged.
Yeah.
And I've been stabbed. I know how it feels. It does not feel good. So it's like, nah, bro. They should be talking about that just as much as the shootings. That's how I feel.
Yeah, because then you get to the real issue. It's not about, like, they keep on trying to push gun issues. And yeah, there's some things that could be fixed with guns and stuff like that. But there's a whole mental health issue out there, and everybody's always turning a blind eye to that because they just want to push their agenda and all that stuff. But yeah, like I said, mental health in this country is going down real quick.
I do agree with there is an issue of mental health. And
Also an issue of a lack of accountability.
yes. And it's crazy because when you hear like President Trump, he was talking about mental health and this and that. And, those guys are this, whatever. Right?
Hey, he did say
And
that
did he-
bigotry, racism, and something else had no place in this country.
Hate.
I was like,
He said
oh,
hate.
hatred.
Oh,
I was like,
okay. Right.
wow, look at you getting ready for the 2020 election year. Okay.
Right. So my thing is, if you're talking about, these people are mentally, unstable, blah, blah, mental illness, but I'm like, didn't you just overturn the whole bill that stopped them from, or made it difficult for them to do all that? So
you
I'm
go back
like,
to Obama regulation.
so I'm like, bro,
you
you
to
almost,
buy a gun.
you're painting yourself into a corner right now. Because it's like, if people had enough sense, they would see like, bro, but you're the one who overturned it, you dummy. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I mean, a lot of it, you have to be mentally unstable. Something is definitely wrong with you to feel like you need to kill somebody because of race or whatever it is. Like, something is wrong with you. But, at the end of the day, it's just a lot of these people with their rhetoric. Even the dude who shot up with,
The Garlic Festival? Or
not even that one. I mean, the other guy, too, in El Paso. Like,
Allegedly, he has a manifesto.
Yeah, I mean, they say he kind of almost
Yeah.
blatantly just put out there like, I'm doing this for Trump. Like, I don't want immigrants, they gotta go, da. It's like, bro, come on.
So,
man.
I guess my question would be when it comes to the discussion around mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you then reprimand that person? Because if it's a psych issue, normally it's reprimanded in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Versus you just took the life of 20 some odd people, and you need to be in a cell, like you know what I'm saying? So how do you? I think we would have to redefine how we apply those reprimands.
Half of the prisons out there all have their own psych ward and stuff like that.
They do.
These days, so
Well,
exactly,
But
just throw him in one of those padded cells and keep him there for the rest of his life.
For like, alright, so
Yeah, we're ready for him.
alright, so put it like this. This has nothing to do with mental illness because, again, like Kia was alluding to, how you reprimand the people because they're given a different set of penalties. Now, a psych ward in a prison is when you're already in prison, and they just put you in a psych ward. But if you just get convicted because you're mentally insane, that's a different level. You're probably not going to get the death penalty. You're not going to go to jail.
Of course.
You're not going to get the amount of time that you deserve. But why? But the point is that it is not mental illness to kill people for race. It's called a hate crime.
No. I agree with that.
It's not. But so if we get into the conversation about mental illness, nobody ever says that when it's any other kind of killer. But like nobody says, oh, these kids in Chicago are mentally ill. No, these kids in New York in the 90s are mentally ill. It's always been cast as an endemic problem of the depending on who you're talking to, the type of individuals that are doing it.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the numbers of homicides in Chicago. While they are high, they are not historically high at all. And almost every case of homicides being high in America has been an influx of actual government assistance in making that shit high. For example, in New York, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, which the average murder rate per year was 1,800. Chicago has more people than New York had in the 80s, and they all had 500 per year for the last 3 years. So what I know about New York is that didn't just happen out the blue. There were people coming in with drugs, coming in with guns that I never saw. When I was in the early 80s, somebody had a revolver. That was a big time thing. All of a sudden, you have military grade weaponry, and now we know that CIA and government agencies will bring that stuff in. So nothing happens, nothing is brought in just because. So you're talking about 2,000 murders per year. When I was growing up, and I was there, to 500 in Chicago. On top of that, some of these murders are quite questionable, but my point is that people should not be afraid to say that. It's not unheard of that people kill people over race. It's not unheard of that people institute policies, whether they are economic policies, whether they're policies about the water, about policies about poisoning goddamn land to affect certain people. These things have been happening. Maybe they're not shooting people, but how about killing people with water is far more effective at killing people. And and my father being a civil engineer and being a pipeline inspector in New York, which used to test the water to improve that certain neighborhoods had higher lead, higher mercury. You know what lead does? Lead doesn't just fuck up your brain. Lead will make you more violent and more aggressive than you would otherwise be. Yeah. So the point is that people should not be afraid to say that straight up racism. Yes, white supremacy is a mental disorder, but white nationalism white nationalist is someone that those groups historically in this country have been quote unquote violent, bombing things, shooting things for a long time. Yeah. And I always say this. I feel human beings are human beings. I feel that.
Oh, you gotta go?
No, I'm just backing out of this conversation.
Wait, what?
No. What?
Jake, look, Jake's not one of those guys.
Look.
You're good, Jake. We got you.
He caught me.
Look, we gotta be truthful with each other here.
Yeah.
We know what we've been seeing as from children. When you hear South Central LA, when you hear New York, when you hear Chicago, you don't hear shit about mental illness. But you hear it now.
Is it a thing that should people be talking about?
They should.
Right.
That's my belief.
But again, these individuals are not lone wolf. You know what a lone wolf means? A lone wolf literally means that they come from a larger terrorist entity, whether they be a militia or otherwise, and they send that person out. That's what a lone wolf is. What I also know is that the gunman in Dayton had a manifesto, came with his sister and another guy, which I read it on CNN, but probably no one really heard on the news. There was three of them. They were separated according to this article. So how the fuck did he kill his sister? They were separated. Who was she killed by? Who was this companion? This is I read, not like it's on some YouTube video. I read this shit.
Yes.
And my point is, no one really talks about that. These individuals wear a certain uniform, have certain tats. They wear things, and no one's talking about that. They have an MO. So my point is, it's not are they crazy?
Oh no. It's
okay, but the real issue, the number one issue, is that these groups exist. These groups exist in an organized fashion, and if you only limit it to guns or mental illness, you're not going to investigate it. If they got Tekashi on RICO charges, these people should have RICO charges, because that's the only way you stop this. If you have 250, they ain't been filed.
The problem with that, brother, is that they own the media too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it would go too far. It would go into law enforcement. It would go into military. It would go into more than just these people that you see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So my point is, it's very dangerous to just focus on, while it's not inaccurate.
Yeah.
That generally.
Yeah, the mental illness is caused from all the other things that they're doing. That's resulting in mental illness.
I mean, studies have been done that most of the killers, talk about New York, talking about the children from the Vietnam era. A lot of those cats that I grew up with were fucking crazy. The killers were deranged.
Shell shock.
I mean, no, not, but like if your father was in Vietnam and killing fucking villages and on drugs, and if you beget a child, that next generation, there's something called cellular memory. Mm-hmm. You get traumatized, your next line is traumatized. My child does my looks not because he saw me do them, because it's in his molecular cellular memory. So I don't have to even. I could be gone tomorrow.
He gonna be wilding out,
and he'll grow up walking the same and looking the same because it's in his cellular memory. So my point is that you have a generation of men. Because 60% of the men in Vietnam were black. You bring them back into the neighborhoods, and then you have a generation, when I was growing up in the 80s, of children whose fathers and uncles went in that war. So my point is that, yes, those niggas was crazy. Yeah, but that not stop them from building more prisons and imprisoning them and formulating concurrent investigations deeper than just, that nigga was crazy. Mm-hmm. But everyone else that helped plan it, everyone else that the websites that they're on, 8chan, Reddit, Serena's husband, he ain't saying shit about the fact that his websites are home to many of these domestic terrorists. Nobody's saying shit about that. So my point is that it ain't just about them being crazy. It's about that. How about everybody who's fucking kills people is crazy?
Oh, I agree.
All right, so lock those niggas up because Central Park 5, Trump was like, kill him, death penalty. But he's not even saying death penalty for these dudes.
Listen, this is what I think about the whole thing. I mean, they can say mental illness or whatever. My only issue is, let's say the person who did the El Paso killing was of Islamic descent, or somebody from Mexico, an illegal immigrant. Mm-hmm. Would they then be saying it's mental illness?
Hell no.
Exactly. They would say it's terror. They would call it what it is.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So because you look at it, I don't just look at it as somebody having to kill somebody as far as shooting somebody. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like a mass incident of life in a single event or whatever.
Yeah.
For instance, the Boston Marathon bombing, right?
Texas was actually Hispanic, by the way, so you're all right about that.
Which one? You talking about the dude who was killing Hispanic people?
No, he was Hispanic.
El Paso, blah blah blah. El Paso, Texas.
I thought he was white.
No.
Oh wow.
So
the El Paso shooter was not Hispanic. The El Paso shooter.
He targeted Hispanics, right?
He targeted Hispanics.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He was not Hispanic.
Yeah, he targeted.
In fact, he drove 800 miles to El Paso,
right.
Texas, which is 80% Hispanic, and one of the safest cities in the nation.
the one bio I was reading was wrong then because it wrote him as Caucasian Hispanic. So.
He actually is the one in California. It was Italian, Iranian descent.
Okay.
But what's his thinking? Because I know Syrians that feel like when you have 2-3 generations behind and they look and live white, they hope whiteness. The mindset is whiteness. Now, I know plenty of Hispanic, but it's Hispanic in the sense of what? Phenotypically, when I saw his picture, the El Paso shooter and the Gilroy shooter almost look identical. In fact, people were saying they look like goddamn twins. But so phenotypically they are white. Experientially they are white. They're not Hispanic in the sense of you see them. They're no more really like Zimmerman was more Hispanic than these guys. But my point is that what were they talking about? Because there are many Hispanics that subscribe to Trump's philosophies. But the Hispanics that he targeted, he's espousing white nationalist belief systems. And any segment or segment of whiteness, they could feel that way. I know plenty of people that maybe their grandmother's Hispanic, maybe they have some mixture of something, and then they espouse these very racist belief systems. Like in Miami, when they hung that monkey in the airport, Miami is just Hispanic and black. Mm-hmm. So who hung that up?
Well, I already told you.
What I know about Miami is, and what I know about some Hispanics in Puerto Rico and Cuba, if you want to know racist, some of the most racist shit I've ever been told in my life was from an Hispanic person, quote unquote. But in this case, his lineage is of a mixed nature, where just like Zimmerman, he might look Hispanic, his father might be white Jewish, but what was his mentality? Right?
I don't even look at the race thing. I look at it like this. This is what I'm trying to say.
What?
When the Boston Marathon bombing happened, they didn't say anything about any mental illness. They just called them domestic terrorists, really based on their background of them being Islamic or whatever. They didn't, and so I think it don't always have to be race related. It could be religious related, whatever. I just think that whoever is controlling the narrative of why this thing happened is who we need to point the finger at. Because I think when things like this happen, they pick and choose who they want to label as mentally ill or who they want to call a domestic terrorist or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look at who is behind the narrative of the event to label the so-called killer, well, I ain't going to say so-called, the killer,
Yeah. Because at the end of the day,
in whatever narrative, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, go ahead, my bad.
I think that this when you talk about like the labeling and words chosen for whether it's on the news or in a news article or whatever, like I feel like the media is well aware that there are words that are like points of contention for us now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So everyone in this country for the most part, is well aware of the conversation around, when it's a white person, they say mental illness. You know what I'm saying? Well aware of the issue of, when it's any other race, then they're either a criminal or a terrorist or this or that. So our media outlets, they realize, okay, this is going to get us traffic, whether it's somebody watching or somebody clicking or whatever you have, like, they're going to see that. And you see it all the time. Like, for example, there was maybe last week, I can't remember, or this past week, I can't remember. But there was a school in DeKalb County where it was going around that they basically targeted black kids' hairstyles and said, right? Okay, so there was a picture posted. The article that was on, I want to say, I saw it on Good Morning America, maybe. Mm-hmm. It said, school prohibits black children from wearing their hair, wearing their natural hair. Not the actual case at all.
What was
it? It's a uniform school. They have a uniform guideline that has been in effect since 2009. That guideline applies to everything from your hair down to, you can only wear black shoes, you can only wear black belts. What the guideline says is you can't have, like, the special cuts that kids get. You can't have that in your
basically, you can't have what I have, what he have.
Yeah, like if you got a design, you can't, and it's not just black kids.
Yeah, anybody.
No kid can wear a design in their hair. They go down to the color of the ponytail holders that the girls can wear. Like, there has to be all neutral, and they list the colors that they can wear. So what was shown in the picture was mostly black kids. Okay, cool. So my next question was, because the faces were covered. So my next question was, maybe, do these kids come from this school? Percentage, 97.2% of those kids are black. So if they took a picture of a child who had that in their head at that time, for an example, chances are the child gonna be black. It's less than 1% that's non-Hispanic or non-black at that school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you go through the article, there was no mention of the school guidelines that have been in effect since 2010. Yeah, there was no mention that the school was uniform. Okay. There was no mention of, you know what I'm saying? No mention of any of that. Just the picture and black kids can't wear their hair this way. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so what's the... So the point is what? You're saying it's not about race?
No. Well,
who you asking me?
Well, yeah,
I'm just saying. Yeah, well, the way the media chooses to portray it, it's like, okay.
Well, sometimes not even the media, but people, it's triggering. At the end of the day,
you gotta do it.
I don't think it's all about race. No.
So why not? So okay, so you telling me that if you look at the dating victims, and 6 out of the 9 people who died were black, 4 of them were women, and the shooter was espousing raping women and killing women and had a list of killing women. You're gonna tell me that the victims have nothing, and going to Dayton, which is a pretty black town, he didn't live there. You're gonna tell me that had nothing to do with race?
Well,
what
about the man? What about the mass shooting that killed other white people? What about that?
Yeah, that's
about race.
What? Okay, put it like this. Any mass shooting, the reason why it's about race. You go to San Jose, California, another Hispanic town. Most of those victims were Hispanic.
What about Las Vegas?
What about Aurora?
You go to Las Vegas.
Aurora shooting.
It was at a country music festival. We killed people.
Nobody said the Aurora movie theater shooting was a white nationalist. We're saying that they were told he was just crazy. Now, white people that put like this. If your wife was eaten by the sharks. Who they going?
Joe, you're my hero.
Who they going to first? Me or you?
Because he the wife. Because he the husband.
People kill people. People kill people.
Which one was it? The wife or the husband?
Either one. Whichever you want.
My point is, most victims of people are killed by people who look like them. That's people true. That they know. So that's not really the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that in these cases, not every mass murder. Now, Columbine, for example, of the 12 people killed in Columbine, 1 was black. Is that a racist killing, or those people?
No.
That
was just a killing.
That's school violence.
Yeah.
Most things in school is most cops that are shot, that are white, are shot by white people. We know this already. My point I'm making to you is, I look at the victims of the case. I look at what the person wrote. I look at what he's talking on. I look at the uniform he was wearing. Because what's the uniform they wear? You can't say it's not about race if you don't know the uniform of these white nationalists.
Now, hold on. Are you talking about just this specific incident is race related, or are you saying in general mass shootings?
No, I didn't say that.
No, that's what I'm asking.
I said that. I said specific to this.
Okay.
I'm not talking about Aurora. I'm not talking about Columbine. I ain't talking about the other hundreds
You're
of
talking about El
other
Paso.
cases.
This
Or
El
no,
Paso.
you're talking about Ohio. My bad,
El
Dayton.
Paso, Dayton,
Okay,
and
yeah.
San Jose.
Okay.
The San Jose and El Paso are some of the most densely populated, on the borderline of Mexico, cities in America. Also some of the safest cities in America, by the way. And if you see the victims are all Hispanic, you can't just look that over like, and you can't say the person drove 1,000 miles to this city and he just happened to want to kill random ass people. No, he specifically targeted Hispanics. His manifesto stated such a Spanish invasion, even though the city's called El Paso and San Jose. They invaded, even though Mexico went all the way up to goddamn Oregon, right? California, Oregon, Colorado, Arizona was all Mexico. So my point is that while some things are not about race, some things are about narrative. But if I see that the victims, like say I go out and I'm a serial murderer and I kill 5 women, you can't say I don't have a problem with women, right? You can't say that. If I only could look at the victims and I only could look at what they write. If they had a manifesto in these other killings and they espouse racist tendencies, and I know that they're on these websites that espouse racist tendencies, I have no other choice but to say racism. And I just want to make it clear that these are individuals, I believe, that are in the minority. They're also individuals that we all work with that will never necessarily come out and say that shit was evil. A lot of people we work with won't say that shit is evil. So it's like, to me, I tell people all the time, I don't care what people say. 50% of the people, if slavery was started tomorrow, would say nothing about it. 30% of the people would be glad about it. Understand? And 20% of people would fight about it. There are plenty of history of whites in this country who have fought alongside blacks. John Brown is one of them that did more, and it sacrificed his sons for that. Harriet Tubman spoke about him. So my point is this: which side are you on? Are you the silent majority who would just let shit happen? Because most people, no matter what they fucking say today, would be like, hey, that's the way it goes, right? So which one do you want to be? So you could talk all day about what you think it is, but I feel like anybody else. Most people on this world are just trying to get through their day, raise their families, have everyday challenges like anybody else. But to overlook the facts that blacks in this country have had a very, very singular experience. And my heroine story was about our singular experience. No other people have been, done in this way. So fighting all the wars, building the country, doing all these things, but then despised all at the same time. We can't overlook race when it's right in front of your face. So
I wasn't trying to say like these incidents weren't racist. I was talking about in general.
You said in general though.
I said in general.
Yeah.
You narrowed it to these incidents. I never said they weren't about race.
Well,
That's why I went back to the Boston Marathon bombing. You know what I'm saying? But I agree. These shootings. Probably, I don't know. I haven't gone into detail. They probably are race related. When I come in, when I say something, honestly, I don't just say it. I actually do read the articles. I actually do look at the victims. I actually do look at the data. Like I'm not just going to say, Chicago is this, Chicago is that. I'm gonna say, what's the 10-year murder rate? I'm gonna compare it to what I saw growing up. I'm gonna compare. My argument wasn't about whether these were racist. My argument was the way the media portrays it to the public is that they pick and choose a narrative, whether the shooter, whatever his real motive was, whether it was race or whatever, the media will twist that into their narrative, and I think it ties into politics. Whereas we're not, like you said, we're not really talking about the real issue. And it could, like I said,
but
it
the
could
media's
be.
not talking about the issues. They're not talking about. They're not.
We got to wrap this up soon.
They're not digging deeply into the networks behind the people. Imagine if it was reversed. If you had this many shootings in one goddamn week, and they were all black, and they were all talking on Black Planet, that website would still be up. You think they wouldn't have all kinds of charges about it? Who they would know who's involved. They fucking talk about whoever they want to talk about ad nauseum.
Yeah, the problem is the people who behind that stuff.
Yeah.
They can't touch them.
But they're not even trying. Nobody even
too
like
they might be too powerful. They might either be afraid or I mean it could be that the people who are behind these things are hand in hand with the networks who are putting the media out. You know what I'm saying? Could be.
All that.
So why would they incriminate themselves?
All that might be true. But my point is that when you know that they have a certain things that they wear, certain uniform that they wear. Like if I'm talking about Bloods or Crips, you know their uniform. What's their uniform? Because my thing, I'm not on my.
I'm saying uniform. None of the guys wore the same thing.
But they did. I saw the picture. You saw the picture?
Yeah. Okay. Khaki pants.
No, khaki. That's the uniform. Khaki pants, black boots, white laces. If they got a body, it's red laces. Certain tats. Do you know the tats that they wear? Because I research these things.
Well,
so my point is that
people aren't going to do that.
But
people are lazy.
Yeah, I have children.
And
put it like this: when I'm out, when I'm at work, right? I like to know, okay, who am I around, right? That's important information because anything else, whether it's how LeBron did his trade or whoever nonsense they want us to know about, they know about all that shit. They knew about the hijackers in 9/11 exactly. 5 minutes later. Yeah, so my point is that at least, my opinion is, if you don't know we're at war, as a people,
it's a lot of
if you don't know, just like Harry Tubman said, I would have freed more people if they knew they were slaves.
Exactly.
So people act like they don't know that there's an open
They
war.
run around here saying stay woke and just as blind as ever.
Yeah, you have to be aware of what's going on, and all these things are saying it could be a very it's a war of your mind, a war of your spirit, a war of propaganda. So just know that just know that you're at war, and don't try to say it's not. It's not just narrative, because really they're not giving you information. So
No, I've learned that it seems like it's easier to swallow the lie than accept the truth.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's how the state of America, the people in America are right now. They just accept the lie. No one wants to hear the truth. No one wants to believe the truth. It's sad. There's a few people, numbers are growing of people that are actually becoming aware. But it's just too many of us in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just can't
That's
see it right in front of our face.
Well, personally speaking, I like to do my own research, but I got other shit to focus on.
Yeah.
So I got more media issues to focus on. I could die any day.
But that's another thing, though. They keep you so beat down with everything else going on in your life. People don't have the time to focus on it.
I agree with you, but I'm not saying that I'm less busy or more busy than anybody else. But what I'm saying is, you
got to find a way to get the knowledge.
I got an older daughter. She's in the hospital this week. I got 5 children. I got other responsibilities that it don't just be open to the idea that we're in constant all our lives under psychological, spiritual warfare, and this is now physical warfare, which is nothing new for us.
No.
I don't have to detail all the occurrences. Just go with it, and then understand that. Look, when I talk like this, if you read it as anti anybody, I could tell you case by case what it is. I feel most people I'm with, if you see me at work, I respect, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a friend. Most people I think just want to do their thing, but don't act like, you don't know that this stuff exists and that it's a problem here. And we're given a fair shot. We have to always have to be a little bit better. And it's not against anybody else. I really wish I could say that everybody in this country gave everybody else the same goddamn shot. And I had to worry about my son being talked to negatively or being even with this rape shit. I could go into that.
No.
no.
Let's
No,
We got-
No.
Shit.
We gotta stop and wrap this up.
Yeah,
No.
Cause this shit about to die.
Yeah, we
That's
gotta-
what I'm trying to
Nah,
say. It's about to die.
I'm gonna just say, if we search shit again, we have to be, just be open to the idea that look, it is what it is, and just be careful for yourself. You can die in a day, but you know it's important to, you know.
Yeah.
think
Stay
outside the
tuned what's
box.
going on in the world. I got you.
God damn it, Joe.
You know,
I mean, not every time. Joe hasn't.
Yeah, I know.
In a while. Don't do
This
it,
is-
Joe,
this
man.
is-
That can be great.
this is important though.
It's important.
This is
Let it be
wait.
great,
What's more
man.
important than this? What's more important than survival?
But that's hey.
What's more important than survival?